Hello, my name is DCC. Today I want to talk about new death mechanic in old school RuneScape. On 2020, June 25th, there was an update in old school RuneScape which added gravestones to RuneScape. When you die outside of PvP, your 3 most valuable items will remain in your inventory when you respawn. The rest will be dropped near where you died, and the location will be marked with a gravestone. You'll also see it marked on the world map. To get your items back, you can return to the gravestone and click on it. You can loot your gravestone from up to 7 tiles away, so there's no need to put yourself in danger while you look through the interface. But beware, graves don't last forever. You'll have 15 minutes to collect your stuff before it's taken to Death's office. This is good time to reach most newbie areas, but getting to distant boss rooms could be a challenge. A timer will appear on screen to let you know how long your grave will remain accessible. The timer will pause if you become inactive or if you log out, so those with poor internet connections won't be punished should they drop offline. Your grave will give some common items for free, but more valuable items will cost you. Fees start at 1000 GP for an item worth of 100k, rising to 100k GP for items worth 10 million gold. Iron players will get a 50% discount since it's much harder for them to obtain cash quickly. Should you forget the money or simply not want to risk it on the way there, the grave can use its mystical power to take the fee straight from your bank. If all that math sounds a bit intimidating, don't panic. The items kept on that screen has been updated to show you exactly what you're risking and what gravestones fees to expect. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about a special item rules. Some items behave strangely on death. They might break or turn into something else. For example, the items kept on that screen will tell you everything you need to know about this, but here are a few rules of thumb. Charge items which requires charges to use, such as the toxic blowpipe, will convert to their uncharged, tradable version upon death. Outside PvP, they'll go to your gravestone. You also get any leftover charges back. In the toxic blowpipe example, this would be an amount of Zulra scales equivalent to the charges remaining. In a PvP death, of course, these items will just drop on the ground for your killer to loot. Broken items, some items such as the fire cape will break on death and must be repaired. How this works depends on where you are in the game and how you died. If you're in PvP combat when you die, one of the following 2 items will happen. At wilderness level 20 and below, your items will break and the PKer will receive coins equal to their repair cost. In deeper wilderness, the item will turn into a tiny pile of coins which is dropped to the PKer. Using a thrower parcher on the item to lock it will return the normal variant of the item to you, and the PKer will receive 500k GP instead. If you are in a PvM combat and you died in wilderness levels under 20, the item will be set to your gravestone. In deeper levels, it will be turned into a pile of coins which will then be sent to your gravestone, unless you use a Traver Parcher. Tradable ornament kits. A lot of ornament kits are tradable, such as the Dragon Full Helm ornament kit or the Dark Infinity color kit. These now come with an extra perk outside the PvP, in that they cause your item to be protected. So Banda's God Sword or will usually stay in your inventory instead of going to your gravestone. That's the Fashionscape bonus. In PvP, the items and its ornament kit will be both dropped off for the PKer to loot. From now on, this will also happen to the Dark Bow Paints and the Abyssal Whip mixes. Previously they were deleted on that, but since they are now tradable, they will show up for a PKer. Bear in mind that this only applies on tradable ornament kits. There are a lot of items that in the game with unusual behaviors, so you should always check the items kept on that screen to make sure you know what to expect, guys. Items that turn into coins if dropped during the PvP, such as the barrel chest anchor, will continue to do so, but will usually remain in your inventory if you die in PvM. Specific pouches. Pouch type items such as the rune pouch, essence pouch, the herb sack and the bolt pouch, which store a quantity of resources, would previously lose their content on death. After this update on death, these resources will fall out of the container and either go to the gravestone or a PKer's loot pile, depending on how you die, of course. Again, to check the items kept on that screen to see exactly how stuff will behave, The options there will allow you to see what's happening in different situations, too, including being sculled, using protecting item, and venturing past level 20 wilderness. PvP death. This update hasn't changed much for the PvP scene. If you are killed by a PKer, your tradable items will become lootable. Your untradable items will either transform into something the PKer can pick up or be taken to your gravestone for you to retrieve. Before this update, your items would be lost if the game world rebooted or if you logged back into the wrong game world. In this update, your items will stay in the gravestone regardless of which world you're on, or even if the worlds reboot. In instance areas, the gravestone will aim to appear outside the instance where its owner can loot it. Previously, items could be lost inside instances, which gave some players a nasty surprise when they died during the quest that worked this way. This does not affect the few special monsters like Warcat or the volcanic mine, when NPCs can return to your dropped items for a fee. If you die inside one of the 4 God Wars dungeon boss rooms, your grave will appear outside. If you're unlucky enough to die a second time on the way back to your gravestone, any items you drop will usually be put in that same grave, and its timer will reset. Food and potions will not go to the gravestone and will be dropped on the ground under it, so it's still possible to make a supply pile. They will stay on the ground for an hour minus any time that has already ticked down from the gravestone. That's office. If you don't get back to your gravestone in time, it will collapse and anything left in it will be sent to Death's office. It's quite a hassle for him to traipse all over Gielinor collecting all those bits and pieces, so although you'll have all the items in the world to get your stuff back, you can expect to pay a little more for the privilege. Items valued at under 100 KGP are refunded for free because Death has a soft spot for newbies, but anything more will cost you a 5% of its current grand exchange value. Again, Iron players will get a 50% discount. You can find an entrance Death's office near all major respawn points. There's one in Lumbridge Graveyard, another in the Coffin Room in Edgeville, a special ornate one under the White Knight's Castle in Falador, accessed via their sparkly new crypt. In all cases, we are aimed to minimize the visual impact on the surface world. After this update, at the first time you die, you will be taken to Death's office and get a gravestone after this update. He'll walk you through the basic mechanics and set you loose before the 15-minute timer starts. If you're feeling exceptionally fancy, or if you die a lot and would like something nice to look at while you're doing it, you can purchase a cosmetic angel or dead gravestone from Death. Since players seldom see each other's graves, the Jagex haven't offered a wider variety of options for now. Suppose for a moment that you didn't have the cash on hand to pay the gravestone fees or retrieve your items from Death's office. If you have any items you don't really want, you can offer them up as a collateral to Death's coffer, which you can find in the office. 105% of the cost of your items you can sacrifice will be stored in the coffer and can be used to pay any future fees you might incur. So if you got a lot of unwanted alcohols and a chronic lack of nature runes, you could stick them in the coffer instead. However, that only accepts the good stuff. Each individual item you place in the coffer must be worth at least 10,000 GP or he will reject it, and you can't just deposit lots of cheaper items at once. Ultimate Iron Man accounts. Ultimate Iron Man accounts won't have gravestones and their items will never go to Death's office. Their items, including untradeable items, will drop and remain underground for an hour on the game world where they died. That hour is still real time, so the items will vanish after 60 minutes whether they're logged in or not. The items will also vanish if the game world reboots or if too many other items are dropped in the same area. This also sounds very harsh, but it's actually no different to how Ultimate Iron Man accounts have played for the last 5 years. In taking on the Ultimate Iron Man challenge, they accepted a higher level of difficulty across the game, and that is reflected with these death mechanics. One change that will affect Ultimate Iron Man players though is the way dropped items behave in instance areas without a retrieval feature. Following this update, dying in an instance will cause your items to be dropped outside of the instance where a non-Ultimate Iron Man players might find their gravestone so that they can be retrieved. And the last thing I want to talk today is special death situations. Some parts of the game have had custom rules for that since they were released. Examples include Thorfinn retrieving items dropped at Warcath, petrified Pete retrieving items from the volcanic mine, and the Priestess retrieving items at Zulandra. For the most part, these mechanics have been left unchanged. As before, if you die again before retrieving your items from the NPCs, they will be deleted immediately. This might sound excessive given to the new death system, but the truth is that these mechanics are some of the few direct item sinks that death has had in recent years. One major change affects in the Priestess at Zulandra. She previously offered her services for free, but we no longer feel that it's appropriate since Zulra is so generous with its loot. Once a non-Ultimate Iron Man player has a Zulra kill count of 50 or more, she will start charging 100k coins to return your items, matching Thorfinn's fee. This charge will not apply to Ultimate Iron Man. On July 2nd, there was some changes which include toxic items will now allow you to choose how many charge items to use when recharging instead of always taking them all. Various keys are now automatically protected on death to ensure that players are less likely to lose their items in area they needed a key to access. Check the items kept on death screen to see exactly how your stuff will behave when you die. Ava's Attractor and Accumulator can once again be lost upon PVM death, as their special protection was no longer appropriate. The retrieval order for Ultimate Iron Man players at Zulra has been adjusted. The game's national values for the herb sack and seed box have been increased, making them more likely to be protected over other items on death. The game's national value for the Eternal Slayer ring has been decreased so that it's a closer match for the Eternal Gems value. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from this video, and as always, if you did, smack that like button, subscribe for future uploads, and as always guys, have a nice day.